versus the Azir. But funnily enough, Kassadin is one of the few black marks in Faker's champion pool. It's one that he's struggled to win on in multiple different metas over multiple different years. It doesn't give early priority like it does against the Corki matchup. So this is one that's probably going to need a bit of attention from the SKT jungler to get going.
Absolutely. And there was one fan sign that we just scrolled over there. It said, Faker has a plan for everything. Well, we're seeing him play yet another unique pick here. It's not obviously going to be his first time ever playing Kassadin, but just something that we don't see that here as we're going to hop onto the Rift for game number 2 with Sandbox versus SKT. Let's do it. Fans getting even louder for both sides as Sandbox, not the best showing in game number 1 as they were eventually chopped down like a big old tree there in game 1 by SKT. And the SKT fans happier more than ever that Faker once again going to be hopping onto something fun, different, and exciting here for sure. The Kassadin can get quite out of hand.
Last Kassadin game for Faker was spring 2018. A victory and a loss against BBQ Olivers. How much time changes, but you start looking at the timestamps. Victory was a 57-minute one, so that was back in the very long meta days, and Kassadin definitely favors a long game. Basically, I love Twitch chat in every Kassadin game I see, which is usually something like EU Masters, where, for example, Nemesis was playing a lot of Kassadin. Whenever you get close to level 16, the level 16 Monka S spam is real, because the champion is such a free win button then.
Yeah.
But SKT had the option to go for earlier power spikes, didn't, and that definitely hurts their solo lane priority, because when it comes to push priority, Karma going to be cashing in Klepto in the top lane, Kassadin versus a ranged opponent, and the Azir going to be pushing in the mid lane, and potentially good news stories in both those lanes gives OnFleek some pretty clear areas of attack. However, you wonder why SKT's made this choice, and I think it plays into the same theory they showed in game number 1, and again, the stat we showed. When Sandbox win, they're the slowest team at winning, Valdez. So, if you think you're not going to be punished and the game's not going to be killed at 22 to 32 minutes like a G2 and like the best teams around the world usually close a game, if you're in for a long time and you don't have to just focus on the good fighting times of early, why not Kassadin and scaling to get all your ducks in a row before you actually have to fight?
Yeah, the logic behind it certainly does line up when you do put all your ducks in a row. I was busy watching, actually, how somehow SKT knew that OnFleek was invading, even though it looked like he was outside the range of this ward that was strategically placed down very early to spot a play just like that. As Klid now, waiting as Ghost is going to put down his own ward, but is thinking about a level 3 gank into the bottom
It's a full clear top side to get this level 3. Also took the walls. You do not ever respect this, to be honest. OnFleek trying to deny any blue buffs going the way of Elise. No blue buff Elise bot lane gang.
This is not something you see very often, but we're going to be trying to bully here onto the cow, but all the roots are going to be pretty good. One more auto will do it, and the Ignite not going to do anything to Teddy. First blood already on a very creative jungle path from Klid.
SKT are smurfing in the early game back-to-back. They had a great plan to answer the potential bot lane focus of the Draven in game number 1. And in this game, they give up one of their buffs in order to pull off a very unlikely bot lane gang. Klid also flashing to ensure that effort would be registering on the grand entrance. They understood that how often does Kassadin games look when they're a loss? In Kassadin losses, level 1, Kassadin has to flash, or the team loses out because level 1 is atrocious, the worst of almost any champion, and then from there gets relentlessly attacked. Well, they don't allow that to happen, they make an aggressive play, and now OnFleek will have to go for something creative under turret to make this work.
Well, Dove is going to take the worst trade of all time as he is getting tunked for half his health bar, and then OnFleek decides, well, this isn't going to work out. You can see what they were trying to do, trying to bait Faker forward, but it does not work out as OnFleek going to be spotted now rotating into the jungle.
The Cassidy buff this patch was one of the biggest I've ever seen, as I think Effort's
here. Wow. Okay, well, this is not the first time we've seen this from Effort, kind of all out on his own. Not much to shout about there, as a half-hearted clap from the audience is going to come out as Effort just dies again.
Hands in the cookie jar. You look at what he was doing. Well, he got some sick wards on the jungle camp's bot side, which relieves a lot of pressure from Cassidy. But sadly, cost for doing so is his life. Nice surround from Sandbox. Important punishment there, as those wards would have been welcome respite for the lanes. This is so well done by SKT, because SKT play around how weak their level 1 is and the fact their mid laner has no priority by creating a gank timing that should never exist, and Elise bot lane with 1 gank level 3 that early. But this time for an equally smart play. If it gets his wards, but doesn't get his life.
Yeah, just trying to do a little bit too much, perhaps, but he's read like a book and shut down. Not the first time we've seen from Effort. Has a bit more mobility on this Rakan compared to the Alistar from the wild card. But either way, we'll have to see how Effort's situation develops, as Clid looking for another gank here, potentially towards the mid lane, but there is vision to spot him.
And a lot of Clid's job is not to gank Azir for a just level 6 Cassidy, and it's much more to just give some wards, give some priority, allow Faker to farm up, because the buff I was alluding to was previously there was 40 base damage on the W, which is the auto attack reset. Sandbox start to lock eyes once again. It was buffed 30 damage to 70 at level 1, which is 75% more base damage. It's a crazy buff that really allows basically last hitting and, in general, base damage, 30 extra damage on the ability you max last at level 1 means that your mid-game, you just have 30 more damage in your kit, right? Which is a very, very nice amount of base damage on a champion that AP comes a lot later compared to core itemization like mana.
Well, not sure about this one on Fleek. Looks like he went straight into the pit with the flag and drag, and is now in a bit of trouble. Flash down here now for Joker. He just might be the guy who goes down from all of this, and they're feeding Faker too, as the kill is going to go the way of the Cassidy Ghost, trying to get something on the backside, but that's all SKT in the tree.
And getting first roam from mid lane as well on this Cassidy. The reason why I mentioned the champion as a struggling one in the past is that Faker hasn't always been willing to make first roam out of his lane. I remember a lot of games on Cass and Vlad where he gets out-roamed by an enemy mid laner, even without priority, finds his time to skip lane. This has been a great trend in 2019, as SKT's mid laner being much more willing to roam with Clid as his mid-jungle duo, makes the nice roam, gets the kill, and the items start to roll in.
That they do. Had a bit of AP to start with the blasting wand.
As
Joker, what is going on here? Might be baited, as Clid very fast in the spider form, gonna hop on a Ghost and then do a bit of burst damage, as trying to clear out the ward, but now he's 0-3.
It's not understanding the lane state on a support like Alistar. This is his first game of Alistar since summer season opened up, and it's a champion whose laning phase is a lot more tricky than normal Joker picks. Too far down the lane, dies a second time. Nice of SKT to capitalize on the laning phase mistakes, but it's a little bit too easy for SK Telecom T1.
See what happens here is on Fleek. He flags and misses. Oh, God. Not the first time we've seen this, as Canyon says hello. And, well, he ends up baiting Joker in, as no flash, you're level 4, you're an Alistar. What are you to do when you're 1v4?
Those EQs over the wall. Was Canyon, right, who was tilted off the moon for Dumb One Gaming. Now, his fellow promotion champion, and Joker walks up thinking, I can clear this control ward, but he just has no business doing so. If Clid could be bot side, he could die. And that is, in fact, the 1+1 that leads to his second death.
It's almost like Alistar syndrome, where you know the champion to be this guy who presses R and is unbreakable, literally, and you just can't really deal damage to him, and he survives for a long time. One of the best engaged supports in the game. But disengaging and trying to run away when you don't have flash and you're not level 6, not very good at that. And we've seen that multiple times now here in this game. as Joker has been so kind to show us. And now going for the Ocean Drake SKT, up about 100 gold. It's pretty negligible right now, but look at where all the gold is on the side of SKT. Kill to Kassadin and 201 Xayah on the bottom side is going to be massive as they pick up Ocean and Infernal is next.
And if Elise can walk mid, put down a control ward while Faker control wards the other side, and Ocean Drake is given to a Kassadin. That scaling game we talked about seeming pretty academic. So Sandbox, how do they win is a query you should ask. Karma Ezreal has been a combo, whether it's mid and AD carry or top and AD carry, that's been routinely criticized because it is very narrow, but rolling in the mid game with that utility on Karma and trying to siege down turrets on Kassadin and Aatrox who have no wave clear between the two is a very timing-focused attack, even more narrow than their Game 1 win conditions we were talking about. And this Karma is going to be going a lane-focused build, so won't have Ardent Sensor Athenes online at 20 minutes. So given all of those, Sandbox is going to have to be on point. Otherwise, SKT going to get that late game they drafted for.
It's always a lot of fun when your late game composition gets the win in the early game, as that Xayah is pretty fed now, as Faker taking good trades in the mid lane. Effort level 5 is in the North River. Kind of interesting to see him all the way up there. Joker actually hits level 6 first somehow. Now Summit just doing Karma things. Never should be in real danger, as now we're trying to take a good trade onto Faker, but again, it's Kassadin, so you're not really going to get that gank off.
No real threat in this matchup. The moment that he gets the Rift Walk, he is very, very safe. There used to be a lot of particular mechanics around matchups, like you remember LeBlanc Azir, where LeBlanc's second part of W could go over the wall, but others couldn't. All a little bit more elementary these days after all the changes to Ultimate. Kassadin going to be just fine. This is going to be a free farm lane, which is happy for Karma, but Aatrox going CS for CS, and there being such a narrow kind of area of attack for Sandbox when it comes to potentially the siege win condition. Like, they get a Baron at 20 minutes. They could definitely close this game, right? Kassadin chooses the wrong time to walk up, dies, and they win the game. But if that doesn't happen, the else is SKT victory. Cleared himself. He actually gets the Rift out. Another objective for the Kassadin team
Oh,
pick
boy.
up.
Yeah, and that's going to be the Rift Herald, and also on fleek has to flash away. Effort with a nice little roam comes up to the top side. Notice that he hit level 6 on the mid lane XP. So runs in, takes level 6, comes on over, gets the flash away. And SKT seem to be already running away with the early game in this one. A nice amount of gold going to Ghost in the bottom side. You'll notice that he has the win in the CS by 10. But not going to waste any time here is Clid. Going to already throw down Shelly and get a charge down and give some gold to the jungler and the top laner.
Gives me no pleasure to say it, but this feels like the epitome of a Game 2 victory for SKT. Anything can happen, but if both teams play perfectly from this point, SKT wins 100% of the time because they've already done so much of the early legwork and they have great scaling options, and that tells you that Sandbox chose narrowly. Like they won't be able to engage on those win conditions, and kind of looking already to potential SKT mistakes more than Sandbox good plays in order to potentially come back in this game.
Yeah, keep in mind that the Ezreal did get nerfed on this patch, so we'll be not able to do quite as much super oppressive mid-game poking with that arcane shift. But I mean, he's the guy that's doing pretty well, but at the end of the day, still might have even less gold just because the Xayah is killing everything around the Ezreal. Faker's sitting here just really enjoying life. I remember I was playing solo queue with you a lot, and I used to play a lot of Kassadin. This is like the perfect game where you're just sitting back, you're not dying, you get an early kill, you're scaling, your whole team's doing well, and it just feels so comfortable.
And you know how much pressure Kassadin's on by how many points they had to put in queue? He only went for 3. He's got first max on E, rolling around. Kassadin's build usually is super greedy, which is the late tier, Seraph's second after Rod of Ages. So even though you're not getting the tier catalyst, you don't have the tier catalyst lull in terms of power in the early game. You want to focus on just finishing the Rod first. So given all of that, Baker's just having a walk in the park. Probably feels like a practice game for him. Not quite level 16 yet, but the level 11, which is the start, is very close.
Yeah, he's just going to be chilling there. He definitely has a lot of gold saved up as he has picked up that Rat of Ages quite a while ago. You'll notice that he's even doing well in the trades. And On Fleek is just hanging around mid lane. I'm not really sure why. Really trying to bait out the shift forward from the Kassadin and then go for the kill. But if, Faker never takes that bait, then he's never going to die.
There's no point to drop Ezreal Alistair unless you're willing to play bot side. So when he's sitting in the mid lane trying to make a play on Kassadin with flash up, a lot went wrong.
Sounds really
bad. A lot
bad.
went so wrong.
Yeah.
But then again, every time he goes bot lane after the 2 deaths, it's potentially a lost cause anyway, Valdez. So.
Well, Teddy's level 10 and Joker's level 6. Trying to come on in here as TP is going to come in from the Azir. It looks like engaging onto the Kassadin, but Effort able to get into that backline. Faker's still alive. The stopwatch going to be pretty good for the side of On Fleek, but not good enough. As a lot of poke damage does come out from Sandbox. Notice that Faker can back and TP back here if he does want to. The Infernal going to release here. As where is that TP? In he does come, and you notice that Sandbox says, no, we cannot do this. They're taking too much damage. And they can't even go for a smite steal because their jungler is dead. And now Faker, level 11, going to come in here with Teddy and begin the landslide that is SKT in game 2. They take out a kill, and they're even going for more here as the Infernal Drake going to be taken down.
Are we doing it?
Everybody's carousing here as Faker is going to go in for the kill. Does go down for it, but he's just trying to set up his team as well.
Kill the minions, please!
Oh, they're not killing the minions as, okay, this is becoming extremely sloppy. Not sure about this one. SKT is On Fleek now. Doesn't have his Cataclysm. Goes in and immediately runs away. As, okay, well, Khan wasn't having any of that. He wasn't having that beef go to waste as they will be eating that for dinner again. For death for Joker as SKT take down pretty much everything, and you could tell they're feeling pretty confident right now.
And you know why, Valdez? Because they're playing with their food in a comp that has a Kassadin. If you're playing with your food with Kassadin, you already kind of won the game, right? Usually you have to be oh so careful. SKT get the first kill, and then it's just about buying time for Faker to reset and come in full health, full mana. Because Sandbox have to tank the Drake that half resets, and then you're taking damage, no smite. Sandbox need to make a decisive call. That call should have been, get the hell out. They don't make that call, so even though SKT take a lot of liberties, fade away E over the wall, if you don't mind, from Clid, they can take the liberties and cash in the checks. So they're just having fun.
Faker there, probably on his 800 mana. Does lose all of his mana in the end as Clid hilariously dies to the turret at the end of it all. Karma lives for an incredibly long time, but eventually dies. On Fleek gets flashed, and then even Joker nearly dies, and then he does.
You know what team looks the most improved with 9-16 coming in? The easy answer is to say SKT because they're winning, but you remove Azir Corki, and they get really interesting, Valdez.
Well, trying to go for a rotation here. Did Khan go too far? Yes. He doesn't have his flash, so the entire team rotating and the teleport means that he is going to be punished for this one. As On Fleek trapped himself in there. Didn't even have to use his E until this moment. Clid in a bit of trouble trying to lock down someone, but eventually does die. As poor Joker might just be dying again here. Does have the Unbreakable. Lasting for quite a while, but not all that long when you're at level 6, and Teddy has a lot of items. 404, cow not found.
And all of those kills on the top side, one of them matched, and 2 turrets could go down in this trade. In fact, should go down. Kassadin has an auto reset, no Sheen, no problem. So it's nice that they made a play, but with that many people sent top side, need to get more of an objective there. There's no Herald to take. Here's the replay. You asked if Khan was dead. You can see the exact moment where the answer is hell yes. Wait for it, wait for it, wait for it. It's now. With the TP coming in, there's no way you get that.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like even the second he got tethered, I'd say he was probably dead. As On Fleek really just has not been having the best game. It looks silly, But actually, in the end, it does also trap Flid, so you can argue that, again, it was a play to try to trap the kill.
All right, what we doing? What we doing, Faker?
Well, Faker's level 11 only on his ultimate, but we have 2 teleports coming on in. Faker going in for kills now, as he does have his team finally coming in. And now is going a little bit too far forward, but actually, can he get this trade kill onto On Fleek? The answer will be no. As getting pretty overconfident at this point in time. Summit still on the run. See if Effort can slow him down here. Summit, nice dodge into Tether, and that Karma's actually pretty fast, and now Dove and Ghost at full health trying to get some kills on the backside, but Teddy at full health as well. Trying to defend, is going to push them away for now and get the rest of SKT to safety.
Well, we're trying our best to make it competitive by being headstrong, we'll call it, from the side of SKT. The throws is usually what you say about a solo queue game that looks like this. Remember that the Ardent Sensor is done, the Karma was grouped. Faker had no business being that far deep. They actually made it a 5v4 with teleports, but they're trying to stave off a play where Faker's trying to assassinate a tank Karma under his inner turret. So that's the part where you're like, wait, did we need to do this, SKT? The answer is no, but it sure makes it fun.
Yeah, I mean, it was fun. You know, we had a lot of action back and forth. Faker goes for the kill on Fleek instead of just cleaning up Summit, which was also a big question, especially with Dove rotating down. As looks like we're fighting again with the Infernal Drake coming up here. SKT looking for a second one here, in control of game number 1 and 2. Feeling pretty happy about the Drake draws, and again, just gonna burst it down with no hope of Sandbox even getting in there. And now that's 2 Infernal Drakes to SKT in game 2.
As far as our stats show, it's the first career game from Joker on this. Alistair hasn't played it in the LCK, and it's certainly showing. So it was down to start that, as Faker already used his R, but he's going to be fine.
Yeah, Joker's like, well, I already learned my lesson. I'm not allowed to go forward in this game. I'll just clear out the control ward. Don't mind me. And it's okay, that's a nice amount of damage. Gonna stop the back from Khan. Really just trying to take out the turret as much as possible. Kassadin has to get close to the wave in order to clear it, so you are missing a bit of wave clear with him in the mid lane, but at least they do have the Xayah. I'm not sure if it's enough.
Definitely this is the scenario we talked about. Karma plus Ezreal grouping, with a Baron especially, is trouble for SKT. They do have to engage in that scenario or they will lose a lot. Mid lane turret goes down for a half second. There is the Sun turret, instantly replaced. And good news, Sun turret's working, so chance of the 1 AM night go down. Faker visits the side lane, slowly working on his Seraph's Embrace. Man, is that turret? What's happening there? Weird. Let's just pretend it's all fine. He's fine. 14,000 damage worth of Kleptomancy has gone into the Aatrox.
Wow. Yeah, it's a fun lane for the Karma, that's for sure. Was never in danger of dying, even though some of the trades looked okay from the side of Khan. You just gotta hope that you're more useful, I suppose, in these team fights, which you can be, especially if you do assassinate the Karma early, so she does drop in utility.
Double pen build being worked on by Clid. We'll see if he finishes the Morellonomicon compared to game number 1. The value there not going to be as high as it was for Dove. On the Talia, Faker rolls the side lane. His core items completed. Comes to the mana stacking. We'll see where he goes next. Focusing on CDR, the CDR boots.
Just trying to build up as much as possible, especially when he does hit level 16, he's going to be hopping all over the Rift.
Wow, look at this. Actually, behind in goal is the Karma versus the Aatrox, in spite of the Kleptomancy being freely procced and all the damage that was dealt. Hopefully can't even protect his control ward clearing here, as SKT have river control. Again, something that should just be pain going through your ears if you're in it. Sandbox player or a Sandbox fan, because the Kassadin comp having river control is never great. And now Summit, the Yakety Sax music is implied.
He's on the run again. Someone catch this thief. That's what SKT is saying here, as well, you're not really going to run away from a Kassadin, so. Eventually, we will see Summit dying with one last swing of the blade, as down he will go. Faker was the one guy that was actually noticeably down in gold when we took a look at the gold numbers. He was down about 1,000, so that help is going to help him, or that kill is going to help him catch up there with a bit of extra gold.
2 levels away from the dreaded level 16. SKT had the read that even with 2 TPs down, there was no way Sandbox, if Karma wasn't there, would try Baron, and I tend to agree with them. They're not tanky enough to go onto the Baron, and they don't have enough damage without the Ardent Sensor buffing up Azir. And Ezreal, remember the Azir nerf is largely targeted for level 9 onwards with 5 points in Q. The extra 2-second cooldown there is a lot of rotations of Q removed from the Azir's toolset. Wonder what percentage of damage it reduces those late game team fights. I'm sure Riot has stats that we don't have access to, but at the end of the day, definitely does lower the late game reality of this Azir. This return to the normalcy here, which for game number 2 has been SKT being able to make their moves and get creative doing.
Yeah, I was just thinking about the numbers. I don't know the exact cooldown on the Q now.
It used to be
it is fully
9,
leveled.
now it's 7.
Okay.
So it's a pretty big nerf. It's about a 2% nerf or so.
Or you mean 7 and now it's 9?
No, used to, yeah, so that's right. You're correct.
Yeah,
So it's longer now.
Yeah.
So it's a 30% nerf. Comes to amount of availability. Sorry on the math there.
Yeah, but either way, does certainly affect that Azir. Dove still 7-1, but that's you know, almost entirely, actually is entirely on the old Azir, the 915 Azir. As we're all grouped up in the mid lane now.
This
trying
is
to go
good.
5v5.
ARAM, Sandbox is happy because they got a big range advantage here, so they don't have wards in their flanks though, and those could be the costly ones.
On fleek going in, but so is Zephyr. Gets 3 of them. Oh, 5 of them actually with the charm. A 3-for-2 special as, wow, already the kill gonna come in. Faker looking for the kills. Finally has the Zaya to help out, and even though he goes down, it really just doesn't matter as the rest of Sandbox is in a huge amount of danger. They're gonna let OnFleek go and go for the bigger prize that is the Ezreal. They'll take him out and keep OnFleek busy as the rest of them look to run a Baron.
Keep on trucking. They get a free Baron if Effort just watches OnFleek not get to recall. Effort just needs to run it OnFleek for as long as possible. Baron guaranteed if he stops OnFleek reset.
Keep on going, Effort.
Get in there, Effort. Get in there.
This guy's a stalker, but it's a good one, at least for SKT this time around. Look at OnFleek desperately trying to go around, and Summit's going to TP for nothing. As down will go the Baron. They can't get it onto the Kassadin, which is a small point, but the rest of them will take it after this great fight for SKT.
And while the ARAM suited them, the All-In did not. They didn't have wards on their flank, and a deletion of the utility quarterback in Karma guaranteed what we already knew. Faker's not level 16, so he actually has to think about his report cooldown and doesn't get presence of mind till he's 300 health, so actually dies, and yet it didn't even matter a little bit.
Not at all. I mean, just consider Ghost was basically dead, and also OnFleek had to flash to get the kill on the one Kassadin. Your Zaya's almost full health. She has 6 kills now and 7 assists. That's 13 out of 15 of the kills so far in the game as well. So having a ball right now is Teddy in this one from early to late. They don't even need that Kassadin to be a menace, which, by the way, he's only 1 level away from that big menace time.
Yep. I ain't got too much analysis for this one, Valdez. I think SKT can afford to make a lot of silly mistakes and still win. They're really, really far ahead compositionally. The double Infernal. The gold lead has never been the truest reflection of who was winning this game. And we're still at its highest ebb, which is around 6,000 gold at the moment. Effort walks up and is waiting for SKT to decide how they're going to close the game. The one thing you can mention is they don't have great siege, so they're going to have to use that level 16 to die.
Yep, everybody hide under the table or a chair or whatever you can find, because
Kassadin will get in there.
He's level 16. He'll find you, but you've got to try to survive for as long as possible. That is the goal, at least, as Faker. Oh boy.
The only counter to level 16 Kassadin, again, that was reflected by OMT in the 94-minute game is single target burst, of which Sandbox has none. So there is literally no way for them to deal with him.
That's unfortunate. I suppose flag and drag will just be buffered. And then if the Alistair can flash headbutt pulverize, then the next Rift Walk will be available. Not much you can do, as he's on 2.5 items, but already feels like the scariest guy in the game.
Yeah. He definitely is a very, very scary man on this Kassadin. No skin, no problem. As Khan actually getting a nice push here. He can start ignoring the Karma a little bit easier now.
He's up 2 levels. Karma's pretty fast and gets a lot of kleptoprocs, but it doesn't matter.
Look at the amount of experience difference. 2-level lead, 4-level lead, same in the mid lane. 6 levels. Yeah, 6 levels, the difference between the 2 teams across the 5 players. So that is a lot of extra experience and implied gold, which once again buffers up the number. We're starting to look at numbers. They never look big until you realize they stack, and with presence of mind, it doesn't even matter. You don't go out of mana. So, yeah, it adds up. He's got 3,000 mana. He's a big deal. He's got 600 AP.
1.4 second cooldown on Rift Walk. He just picked up the Rabadon's Death Cap. It's where a lot of that extra AP you were talking about does come from. And also picked up a cheeky Negatron Cloak. Why not?
And he's the closest we have to the hard carries from other MOBAs that have big tournaments going on now that I won't spell out, but are similar to Dota, a game I used to play.
Thanks for not spelling that out.
We don't have a lot of hard carries in League, and I think level 16 Kassadin is about as hard a carry as you could really talk about. And you know what? He's going to be on the screen soon, hopefully.
Well, on Fleek hasn't had the most fun game so far in this one, but at least he is going to survive this time around. Just barely, as Ghost trying his best to push everybody away. But we're just going 4-1. Get the Kassadin in the side lane, have him TP if he has to. Looks like Dove is going to be on clearing duty on this Azir.
So, how you feeling?
You know, you were talking about a game number 2 for SKT.
Well, this is the lull state where they don't actually have any range. So they can't push without Baron or diving.
Yeah.
So sadly, even though the game is very much done, it doesn't end.
It doesn't end. And, well, you were talking about the 2-0 victory so far, but I don't know. I was actually feeling a 3-0 victory.
I'm feeling the yakety sax, though. Here we go.
Here we go again. No Kassadin this time.
Well, speaking of yakety sax,
you're not going to catch him. Stop chasing the Kassadin. Yeah, that's when the conductor just pulls his hand to the side and immediately the horns stop abruptly. And, yeah, the yakety sax are over. They kill the Karma. Nobody's bot lane, by the way. Teddy's like, okay.
Backdooring, baby.
I guess I'll take this away. Sure thing, no problem. If you want me to have it, I mean, thank you for the gift, says Teddy, who is 6-0-7. And everybody decided they would chase a Kassadin. So the game is definitely over. And there you go. That's going to be down on the inhibitor in the bottom side. Inhibitor is still left in the top side. You mentioned it's hard for them to end the game unless Sandbox gift them inhibitors.
The good news is they can take the bot lane inhibitor. That's the one that SKT have to respond to. Sorry, that Sandbox have to respond to with a TP user. First away from Baron, makes that Baron take, which they do need to close the game a bit easier. So it's another in the Sandbox loss and SKT advantage court. I think you're thinking about his flank options. He has just the most ability power.
1E and all of the little Raptors are gone. How about the little Ezreal?
Oh, it's coming soon.
Are
you ready for some wombo?
Oh, he actually missed, but he's dead anyway. The QSS comes in, but Ghost is so dead. You are just all dead as in goes the Kassadin, and out goes the Sandbox. Going to be feeling pretty sad box after this game. As 34 minutes in, and it looks like SKT have pretty much done it, as only Karma is left to tell the tale for now.
Saya is trying to catch him. Do they ignore the Karma, or do they run at her? So far this series, we've been running at her.
Yeah. Begin the horns and stop them immediately, as Karma's going to die again in game number 2. is going to be on the books here as SKT going to push in for the game victory here at 34 minutes. 21 kills to 6 did end up being the score as SKT